Hey everybody, it's Sunday, March 26th. This is your bonus edition of the Mitch Burrow Show. Sorry it's a little late, but we'll get into that later. So just sit back and enjoy the show. All right, wow. The previous episode came out on Tuesday, and it hasn't been very, very long since that, but I feel like so much has happened, so let's get into it. I started reaching out to some other job opportunities between here and San Antonio, and I might have a couple leads on that. We got a few more patrons that signed up for the Patreon. I got a little bit of money from some videos that I've done, and I got a few more shows booked around the Dallas area. So all that money, which isn't a lot, but everything that I'm making through comedy and entertainment is going back into this. So I was able to move the TV in here, so we have a monitor that can throw up some fun stuff for you, and I'm working on rebuilding the studio, which is currently just a garden shed. Yeah, I mean, look, I may not get a job down in San Antonio anytime soon, which the whole reason is just to be closer to Austin so I can perform at the clubs out there. But my main goal right now is to just produce content, to put stuff up on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube, and just keep building this thing that I'm doing, and we'll see what happens. It is very difficult to juggle a job that's 40 hours a week, a baby that's 24 hours a day. You know what? She'd probably get mad at me right now. She's not a baby. She's going to be 2 years old in about a week and a half. She is amazing. It is a joy to be around her every day, but it is just a lot. You know, a 2-year-old is constantly on the move, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun. We had her on the phone with my mom today, and she was just cracking her up. I took her to the farmer's market to visit Lee, and it's so funny. So, look, I hate to exploit my child, but if it benefits the family, I don't see the problem with it. So Lee has these business cards for her pastry business, and Billy is getting really good at just approaching people and saying hi. So I was like, let's put this to use. This is a skill. So I gave her the cards, and anytime I saw like a older woman walking by, I just said, Billy, go give her the card. And Lee probably sold an extra $40 worth of pastries because Billy's just a really great salesman right now. She's just going up to everybody. She's like, hi! And she gives them the card, and they're like, oh my gosh, she's so cute. And I was like, yeah, the croissants are over there. Thanks a lot. And then she took me on a walk around downtown. She loves walking. Sometimes I'm like, who's your real dad? Because this did not come from me. If there's one thing I do well, it's staying still. But she just loves to move. So we went around a couple downtown blocks. I'm working. I don't think it's ever too early to teach things to children. So I let her walk without holding my hand. But she just I give her direction. So when we get to a crosswalk, I'm like, hey, stop. Now look both ways. And she goes, no cars. I'm like, okay, let's go. The problem is sometimes there's a car coming and she'll just say, no cars. And then I gotta be like, no, wait. So I don't necessarily, like she doesn't really know what she's doing yet. But it's just building the habit. I'm still, I'm still having to be there. I wouldn't let her just walk around the block by herself. I think she needs like another 3 or 4 months before she's able to do that. After that, we came home and just had a pretty chill day, the two of us, and then she went down for a nap, and then she pooped her diaper during her nap, which woke her up. that's, you never want to interrupt a nap, and if there's a worse way to do it, that's pretty close. I imagine like having a tiger roar in your ear would be worse than pooping your pants, but that's up there. It's at least number two. Number two. Oh God, I didn't even, man, see, that's how good of a comedian I am. I don't even mean to make the jokes. They just come out of me sometimes. After she woke up, so a guy out here that I know, he hit me up. He was like, hey man, there's a chili cook-off. You want to come to that with me? And I was like, yeah. He's like, all right, it's at the whatever church. And I was like, yeah, cool. I'll eat some Jesus chili. That's fine. And I was like, I'm going to take Billy because Lee woke up at about 4 o'clock in the morning. So she was tired. She needed a nap. So Billy came with me, and she's got this little trainer bike, and they had this really wide open area, and she is just, like, I mean, again, so active. Like, I wish I could go back to when I was young and moving all the time and just tell myself, hey, don't ever stop. Don't stop, because I wouldn't even have to go back that far. When I got out of the Marine Corps, I was moving. So if I could just go back to 24 and just tell myself, like, hey, you just gained 5 pounds in a month. Let's go ahead and start working on that now. But instead, I just kept going, and now I am like, hey, you put on 120 pounds, maybe maybe there's something you can do. And I'm like, yeah, but, it's a lot. But maybe Billy, maybe she's what gets me back in shape. Because I gotta follow those steps that she's making. Hers are a lot smaller, but she takes a lot more. So it's keeping me pretty active. Anyway, we're there for a long time. She's just having a good time. I'm trying the chili. And then all of a sudden, like, one of the church dudes, and it's the men's group at the church. So one of the church dudes, he comes over and he's like, hey y'all, let's go upstairs for a little bit. And then the guy that took me there, he just leans over and he's like, hey man, I didn't know this was gonna happen. We can leave if you want to. And I was just like, I said, what'd you think, man? We was gonna get chili for free? Like, there's always a price to pay. And right now, it's eternal salvation. Okay, so I get it. You don't want to be embarrassed, but let's just go up there and hear the Jesus talk. So I took Billy up there with me, and the good news is it was 2 flights of stairs. So once again, she's moving and showing off her climbing skills. We get up there, and I don't know why, but she just like sat down next to me and was quiet. and then they started to do the prayer, and she goes, Puppy Pals, which is a cartoon that she's watching, and I had my phone with me, and like during the prayer, I'm having to pull up this cartoon so she doesn't just start screaming for these puppy pals. But you know what? Like, people will criticize you for having a screen up for your kid to distract them. But guess what? People would also probably be more critical that your child is screaming during some sort of like church service. So, I was like, you know what? They can judge me if they want to, but truly only God. I can't even say it. But truly, only God can judge me. So I think God would like a little respect during the prayer. So we sat there, and then this guy, his wife just had a baby. And about halfway through this thing, he just leaned over and was like, hey man, we can leave now. My wife needs some help with the baby. And I was like, okay. I wasn't going to be the one to say, like, no, I don't want to do this. But as soon as you give me a legitimate out, we're gone. So we left, came home, and that's pretty much it. But it's been a lot of fun. It's keeping me busy. I had to really kind of push on this episode to find some good stuff to talk about, and I think I've I found some good topics. So I'm gonna pull up some stuff and let's just talk about what's going on in the world right now. I'm not the smartest man in the world. My opinions probably aren't great about certain things, but maybe it'll be entertaining. I should have more confidence. I bet I'd have a few more patrons if I had some confidence. So I'm going to tell you my opinion on things, and it's going to matter. So this first story that I got, it's the first female police officer in a rural Michigan town says that fellow cops relentlessly harassed and assaulted her. I think that a lot of times people will look at a woman that does something like this, and they'll say, like, look, you knew what you was getting into. It was an all boys club. Of course they're gonna mess with you. And look, I get it. I've been the only person involved with some things before. Growing up, I was the only white boy on our school bus. When I moved to Texas and started work, I was the only person who leaned left in politics. And on my street, I was the only person in Texas with a California license plate. So I've been involved with a lot of things that get you bullied. This one right here, though, like I'm with her. There's no reason why a woman can't or shouldn't be a police officer. I mean, yes, there's a lot of videos of women not doing the job well, but there's also a lot of videos of men not doing the job well. In fact, at this point, I pretty much don't like the police at all. They're all bullies, it seems like. And I mean, if a woman wants to go into a profession where she's just going to be considered an asshole by everyone that she interacts with, that's her business. I mean, you look at her, she's got red hair, green eyes. There were so many opportunities in this world for her, but she chose professional asshole. And, that sucks. She shouldn't be getting punished by the other professional assholes for that. There are a lot of citizens who are going to despise her. So that's unfortunate. The next story that's going on, this is probably one of my favorite ones of the week. A Florida principal has resigned after the parents got upset that they were showing Michelangelo's sculpture of David. They called it pornography. If anyone knows anything about pornography, it's me. I'm like an aficionado, a connoisseur of sorts. I've gone through many different phases. If there is a sommelier of pornography, that I think that would probably be me. And the statue of David is not pornography. It's art. And while I will admit I don't particularly care for art, that's more of the modern stuff, because I think when it comes to real art like this, they perfected it back then. They got it all right. So that's why people are sculpting weird silver bubbles to put in the middle of Chicago. Isn't that where the bean is or whatever? I mean, it's just, they had all these amazing sculptures in ancient Greece. And so now when people are following up on that, they can't. You had the Mona Lisa, you had David, you had the Sistine Chapel. So now you have Jackson Pollock splattering paint everywhere and being like, this is art. There's that one guy who just does like a shade of blue and a shade of orange, and it sells for $4 million. It's like, okay, see, this is when art wasn't just a money laundering tool. It was when art was art. They were really trying to show something. And look, I get it. Whatever grade this is, from high school down to elementary school, the kids are going to see this and they're going to point and giggle. But, that's just what they're going to do. He's got a funny looking little penis. a tuft of pubic hair above it, and he's jacked. So yeah, they're gonna be like, look at this silly looking guy. But it's not pornography. I used to do a thing with a buddy of mine where he would give me the name of a porn star, and then I would say whether or not she had natural or enhanced breasts. So again, I know pornography. I mean, the fact that he was just able to name porn stars, and I would be familiar enough to know who they were, says a lot about me. And I think it actually says a lot that I wish it didn't. I don't think that's something that I'm proud of. But you know what? I remember my grandparents had an encyclopedia. I think it might have been the Encyclopedia Britannica. And what I would do is get the S book and go through and find sex. And then it had like it was like the body was cut in half, and it showed the sex organs, and I thought that was pretty hot at about 7 years old. So look, I mean, there's, kids are going to be interested in stuff like this, and it's, again, I don't think it's something that parents should be going crazy about, because it is a part of our art history. So yeah, I mean, these people, they just got to chill, man. Like, give it a break. What do we got next? Oh, this one's kind of wild. A Florida couple has been kidnapped and they're being held for ransom in Haiti. Apparently, if you're going to travel to Haiti, the U.S. government says don't. And they say because you might get kidnapped. Now, look, I know there's a lot of things going on where we don't want to trust the government. But I just feel like this is one of those where people might want to be like, you know what? I'm just going to take a chance here and listen to Uncle Sam. There's just some places, and look, I think here's the problem. People don't want to seem racist or xenophobic, and think like, not all the people in Afghanistan are going to try and kill me, or not everyone in Haiti or Mexico is going to try and kidnap me or murder me, and that's cool, because you're right, not all of them are going to, but man, there are some who absolutely will. And that's not a genetic predisposition. That is a result of poverty and like a culture of religion, zealots, not the regular. Man, this is like my fourth episode. Fifth. I can't get canceled immediately. I'm not saying like the regular religion people. I'm talking about the extremists, So let me just say, like, I like the majority of the Muslims and the majority of the Haitians. I think what they did revolting against slavery is very inspiring. But right now there's just some shit going on out there, and I just avoid it. Here's where I would travel as an American. This is about the most dangerous place I would go. Mississippi. That's about it. I've been to Costa Rica before. I think there are tropical places that you can go without having to risk your life. As long as it's not hurricane season, they just get as far inland as possible. I think, but you can plan that. When the hurricanes are coming. You do not know when someone is going to run up on you with a machete and say either you come with us or we're going to kill you. I'm just blown away by the fact that there's a warning that says don't do this, or else you'll get kidnapped. And they're treating it just like people treated the masks at the beginning of COVID, where they're like, they're just saying that because they don't want me to have my freedom. And then now they're now they're kidnapped. So, I hope they make it back safe and then learn a valuable lesson about traveling. Don't do it. It's not necessary. Stay at home, a place where you're loved and welcome. Speaking of masks for COVID, this one is wild. So the WHO, the World Health Organization, is now warning about the spread of the Marburg virus after Tanzanian deaths. Here's what's great about this one. It causes hemorrhaging. So bleeding out from the eye. It's like an Ebola type virus. And I say, bring it. Let's go. I need another 2 years off of work. I need another 2 years of unemployment with a $600 bonus added onto every check, because life is like, working is not easy. I could be doing so much more content for all of you if I wasn't having to go into work every day. So if we just have another pandemic that shuts everything down, I think I could probably, get another, 50,000 followers within the next 6 months. That's the goal. Let's just keep getting the followers. So I get it. A lot of people would have to die. But I think it's worth it, for my happiness, for strangers to die. If that's what's got to happen. Like, I hate to sound cold, but I don't want anyone I know to die. Even someone that I don't like, because then I would feel guilty for that. Like, if someone was like, hey, Mitch, you remember that guy that punked you in the parking lot in 11th grade because you asked his ex-girlfriend out on a date? He could die. And then I'd be like, yeah, nah. I mean, I know him, so I don't want that to happen. But if they were just like, hey, 100,000 people that you don't know are going to die, I'd be like, yeah, cool. That's fine. I'm going to get some success. Can't wait. Sorry people I never knew existed. That's why it's easy. It's people that you didn't know existed. The problem with the Marburg virus, though, is that I mentioned hemorrhaging, and I mentioned this on the show before. That's an ugly way to die. And we are just so vain that I think that we would really put a stop to it real fast. I think that the American people would go, ooh, I'm going to bleed out of my eyes and my ears? Gross. Give me a vaccine. Now, I don't care if it's not been tested. No, it doesn't need to go through any sort of trials. Just make it so I don't bleed out of my nose or my eyes or anywhere other than an open wound, or if I'm a woman, my vagina 7 days every month. That's it. That's the only blood that I'm willing to accept. So let's see what happens. If there's another pandemic, Mitch Burrow show goes to a whole other level. If they stop the spread of this virus and it gets isolated to that area, yeah, oh well. There's always COVID-20. And we'll see what happens. Here's a big one. At least 26 people are dead after a tornado causes destruction across Mississippi and Alabama. Well, that is something else. Did you know that 90% of the Earth's tornadoes happen in the United States? And then the other 10% is split up primarily between Canada and the United Kingdom. Which, I mean, okay, that says a lot about the United States. Obviously, if there is a God, he hates us, and he really hates the middle of the country. It basically goes like Mississippi and Texas, and then all the way up the United States towards like North Dakota and Montana. But the thing is, it really kind of primarily focuses between Texas and Mississippi. There's like a little chain there where it goes. And these are the people who say that natural disasters happen because of gay people. But it seems like the most natural disasters happen in those areas. So maybe it's not that God hates the gay people. Maybe it's that God hates sweet tea. Maybe that's what it is. Who knows? Maybe, because they happen in Texas a lot, maybe God doesn't agree with your barbecue only having a dry rub. Maybe he likes a sweet St. Louis style sauce on his ribs. You ever think about that? Anyway, it just sucks that this happened and killed a bunch of people. But it's just like it's always happening. Every year, there's so many tornadoes. I think Texas gets 100 of them every year. And people are still like, I'm gonna rebuild. I'm gonna get me another double wide, and I'm gonna put it right back on this half a acre lot, and we're gonna thrive. We will get back to where we were before. Now our homeowners insurance is gonna double, which means I'm probably gonna have to sell the Camaro, but we're gonna make it. I can't help but think about how crazy it must have been to be one of the first settlers coming over from Europe. Because a lot of them were from Spain, so they didn't deal with any tornadoes. They probably didn't know what it was. And as you're going across the country, you get to certain parts of Mississippi or Nebraska, whichever route you're going, right? And then all of a sudden, the wind picks up to a point where it kills you, and the survivors have to be sitting there going like, I don't think we should try and go any further. I think we should turn around and go back. All right, I'm not editing this. You get that yawn? You get it. It is. It's 11:30 at night here, and I woke up with Billy this morning. But I'm doing this. I'm doing it for you, and you know who you are because you're one of 2 patrons right now. You know, if I get this up to 5 patrons, who knows what this ramshackle garden shed could be. Anyway, I find it fascinating that people live in places where the place is constantly trying to kill you. Florida, hurricanes. Mississippi and Texas, tornadoes. Georgia, Alabama fans. You know, there's always a threat somewhere. You just gotta work your way past it. I want to show this video. This is the most terrifying thing I've ever seen, and it's this dude's hobby. Like, I'm not gonna play the whole thing, but just watch this.
So right now I'm breathing out.
Why? Why are you doing this? I'm having a panic attack right now watching it.
Okay, so I'm coming up out of this, and if I get stuck, I have this rock with me, such that I can pop up some of these.
All right, so I listen to Stuff You Should Know, which is a really great podcast, and they just did an episode on a dude in the 1910s who was a caver and got stuck in a cave and died. And then there's another horrible story about a guy. I wish I could remember the name of the cave, but it's a really well-known story. This guy went in, and it had like this up and down pattern, and as he was coming back, he slipped or something, and his body just kind of got trapped. And his family was there, and like his brother is coming to check on him, and they're doing a rescue attempt, and they get him moving just a little bit, and then he slips again, but this time he slips into a spot where he can't breathe, and he suffocates in there, and then they sealed the cave off, so they couldn't get him out. They sealed the cave, and that is his final resting place. I again, like, going back to, like, why would you live somewhere where the earth is constantly trying to kill you? Why would you do a hobby where, look, he's...
Yeah, I mean, that's why you got to wheel it. It can definitely, from the other side, you can...
Why, like, this... There is joy that you get from the... There.
That's right, I cut all that... Where I lived down, I cut all those things out.
There's no life down there. Bugs and snakes and rats have all deemed this place to be kind of shitty and not worth going into. But this dude is saying, if I hold my breath long enough, I can squeeze past some of this. And the worst part about this guy, he takes his kids with him on some of them. And it's one of these things where parents are pushing something onto the kids, and I don't think that this is what I'd rather, you take your kids to a drag show rather than this. No one's outlawing this guy taking his kids down into a cavern where they could die very easily, but you can't watch a guy dance around in high heels and a wig. They'd try and cancel the other part of my show if they saw that, but I could do it while I suffocate to death because I couldn't even get in that. You gotta see that you gotta be way too disciplined in your diet to get away with this. So I wouldn't be able to do that. Here's one of the best ones this week. Twitter is now automatically responding to all press emails with a single poop emoji. And they did this after laying off their communication team. I know people are giving Elon Musk hell for the way that he's run this company, but some of the things that he does are pretty great. When you're constantly bashed by the press, go ahead and be a little petty. Let's see. They were against him before he even started doing it. It's just, it's not fair. I wish I'm just trying to think of like a really good example of someone who had a dream, but then they were shut down before they could. And as I say this, I realize it seems like I'm trying to compare Elon Musk to Martin Luther King Jr., and that is totally not the direction I was trying to go into. I was trying to think of a guy that played sports that maybe got shut down initially. And there you go. Tom Brady. When Tom Brady came into the NFL, he was drafted like in the 18th round or something. No one thought he was gonna do well, and he came out to 6-time Super Bowl champion. So Elon Musk takes over Twitter. No one thinks he's gonna do well. Let's give him a season or two. Let's see what happens. I will say this: now that the check marks cost money, I actually dislike the people with check marks now. I know that if they have it for a very petty reason, I like it when you just kind of earned it for being popular. Now you got to pay money for it, and it seems bad. That's the one thing I would criticize him for. Hey, give these check marks away for free. The Mitch Burrow show, that deserves a check mark. I ain't got money for it. I don't have enough patrons yet. But the poop emoji for your dear Twitter, my name is Steve from USA Today, and I just wanted to inquire about the policy on people purchasing blue check marks for verification. Poop. There you go. That's my answer. Poop. So good on Elon Musk for that one. I don't like a lot of the decisions he's done made with Twitter, but I'm okay with that one. It's kind of funny. Next up, a woman is going viral for buying a 1998 Ford Escort for $289 a month for the next 84 months. I don't even know how many years that is. That is so much. Do I have a calculator app on here? That's what I gotta see. So $289 a month for 84 months. Let's pull up my calculator right there. All right, here we go. 289 times 84 equals. So that's $24,000. Okay, and then we go 84 divided by 12 equals 7. I should have been able to. I'm actually embarrassed. I wish I would go back and edit this one instead of just doing it all in one fell swoop. And the fail is very in bold when I say that. Okay, look. So 7 years. $289 a month for 7 years. And it comes out as, what was it, $24,000? Okay. I know what you're thinking. Wow, she got conned. She's never going to pay that off. Okay, but let me tell you this. Have you ever been in the Marine Corps? Were you ever in a school in Pensacola, Florida? Anyone who was ever enlisted in the Marine Corps or the Navy has seen some shit like this happen. If they didn't do it themselves, so many lower ranked people in the military go out and buy a Camaro or a Mustang at the top end of what they can afford on a monthly payment with a high interest rate, like a 19 to 21% interest rate for 5 years. So they buy a car that's worth $10,000 and they end up paying about $20,000 for it over time. That, she's just real patriotic. She's doing, military stuff. I don't really see a problem with it. If you look at this picture, she is proud of that 7-year commitment that she has made on this car. And guess what? So, let's say she changes her mind. 7 years paying for it, or she lets it get repossessed and then it's cleared off of her credit in 7 years. I mean, not a big loss when you look at it that way. Plus, I can imagine that someone who's getting a $289 a month car payment for 84 months probably doesn't have the best credit anyway, so she's not going to be losing out very much. But people are going crazy and harassing her about it, really giving her a hard time. I'm all for it. Look at these boots. She's cool, man. She got cool hair. She's gonna do all right. I'm proud of her. Plus, she might have it. Look, here's what people don't understand. She might have a kid, and she might absolutely need transportation, and this was the only way that she was able to get what she needed so that she can take care of her kid. Yeah, I mean, don't be so quick to judge people. Was it a really terrible deal? Yep. Was it the only deal that she was able to get? More than likely. So I'm not going to hate on her. If anything, I think those jeans that she's wearing are pretty ridiculous, but I ain't mad. Next story, we got a man that was arrested in a town called Three Rivers for driving drunk for the 10th time. Oh, man. I think he should move, probably. At this point, they're just looking for him. If a cop sees him driving, they're going to be like, I'm pretty sure old Jeremy's drunk again. Let's go pull him over. Here's what's crazy. He ran out of gas. and that's what caused him to get arrested. Apparently, he pulled into somebody's driveway, and then she called 911. Why are you calling 911? I hope she was like 80 years old, because that's the only reason. If you don't get out of if they don't get out of the car and come banging on your door, why are you gonna do that? Am I missing something? Yeah, that's it. It doesn't look like she talked to him at all. The police came out and they just said he couldn't hardly talk, and there was a smell of alcohol. If it's your 10th time, I'm very critical of this guy, because if he's drinking this much, he should probably be a functional alcoholic at this point and be able to fool them. But if not, I think after the 6th or 7th DUI, you go, I think I might have a problem. I think I need to go to AA, and I don't believe in God, but I'll do whatever they tell me to do. Or you go to rehab. But you can't just keep getting DUIs. I have done some pretty bad things. I should have had a couple DUIs in the past. I've had some really sketchy things happen. I was driving around Athens, Georgia, one night, and I did a U-turn to pick somebody up that was waiting for me to get them. And as I did that U-turn, a cop drove by me and turned on their lights, and I booked it. I had somebody else in the car, and I was like, hey, tell John or Steve or whoever the heck it was that he's gonna have to find another ride home. And this cop, he flips around, but he also did a U-turn, so someone should have started pursuing him. And we just start going down these streets, and he's keeping up with us pretty good, but my car had front wheel drive. And I go through this intersection pretty fast, and when the cop comes behind me, he's driving at the time, I think it was the Chevy Malibu. No, it was the Chevy Impalas when they were using those as cop cars. He's rear wheel drive, and he lost traction, and he actually spun out in the intersection. And another co-worker of ours, we worked at Circuit City at the time, they were actually in the intersection and saw it happen. So there's witnesses to this. And then after I got away from that guy, I did this. I used to hold up my thumbs and close the eye, and I just keep the yellow line on this one and the white line on this one, and I drive straight. So I started doing that, and then another cop pulls up behind me, and I just told my friend, I was like, hey man, if they turn on the lights, I'm just pulling over. I'm not doing that again. And he followed me for about a mile or so, and then turned off. And then another cop pulls up behind me, and I'm like, oh man, I think they're kind of fucking with me at this point. And he followed me for a little bit and turned off, and then we got to the apartment complex, and I pulled in there, and when I got out of the car, I just fell on the ground, and I was just like, man, I cannot believe that just happened. I was not proud of it. I was just kind of blown away at the fact that it happened. And then I had sex with some chick. She just thought that was really exciting. And then I was doing many years later, I was doing a charity event in Idaho. And it was for an equestrian group. They had an open bar, and I probably drank about, I don't know, eight or nine beverages, and I was driving back to the hotel after that, and I got pulled over. And I pulled over. I actually pulled up onto the curb a little bit. Like, immediately they should have got me. But the woman, she asked for my license and registration. I give it to her. She tells me to get out of the car to do a field sobriety test, and I do it. And then afterwards, after I do the field sobriety test, she goes, well, you passed the field sobriety test, but I still think you've been drinking too much. Where are you at tonight? And I was like, I'm staying in the hotel. I was a block away from the hotel. And I was like, I'm staying right there. She was like, okay, go park your car, and that'll be it. Just don't drive anymore tonight. And I was like, hey, okay, no problem. And I drove away, and I forgot to get my driver's license. As soon as I pulled away, she must have been sitting in the car and just been like, son of a bitch. How did I let this one get away? Luckily, I have no idea why, but I was traveling with my passport, so I was still able to board the flight, and then someone mailed me my driver's license from the police station. But that was the last time that I drove intoxicated. Like, I mean, I just remember thinking, they had me dead to rights. There's no reason why I shouldn't be in jail right now. Stop what you're doing. And it shouldn't even come to that. You should just be a responsible person and be like, hey, it's bad to do this, so don't do it. But unfortunately, I just needed something to tell me that. But man, how much better am I at being drunk than this guy? He's been arrested 10 times. I was given the field sobriety test, and I was just, what, you want me to touch my? I got you. I can do this all day. And surprisingly, I guess I have a pretty good balance, because they had me do the standing on, like, where you hold your foot out in front of you and you count to 10 or whatever. I nailed it. Again, not proud, but I mean, come on. It's not bad. And lastly, man, this one is real personal to me. The U.S. government is threatening to ban TikTok. Look, I get it. The Chinese Communist Party, it had a major role in developing the predecessor to TikTok. TikTok is an American-owned company, but it has ties to the Chinese Communist Party. They are worried that they are data mining stuff to use against the United States. They're worried that they're manipulating the algorithms to put certain images into people's screens so that we think negative things about our country or whatever. I understand that. However, I just hit 35,000 followers. I cannot lose this. I just got a company reached out to me to do a paid partnership with them and post content for their brand. I can't do that without this. So, okay, if you want to ban TikTok from military people, that's cool. Government officials, that's fine. I get that. But like idiots, it shouldn't be taken away from them. Like they're gonna be idiots no matter what they're whether it's Twitter or Facebook or TikTok. And let's be honest, Twitter and Instagram, these are doing the same thing. It's just being done by a privately owned American company, as opposed to something that has ties to China. And I'm not trying to give China any ammunition to use against the United States, but I don't think they're really getting it's idiots. We're dumb people. You look at my feed. It's that is cultivated by me, and it's mostly just chicks with big boobs dancing or doing yoga in front of the camera. China has nothing to do with that. That's my interest. So I don't think that banning TikTok is the right thing to do. I think it, and look, here's the thing. I said, like, ban it from the military people. Guess what? The military, they're using it as propaganda for themselves to recruit people. There are so many hot women in the military on TikTok, and it's absolutely being used as a recruiting tool. I can pull it up right now. Let's see. If I pull up TikTok, I guarantee you, in just a moment, I can find a hot chick in the Army. Let's see. Military Army girl, 25,000 followers. There you go. Is she gonna do a switch into her? Okay, she's not wearing her uniform there. Let's find one where she's in her uniform. Well, then she's half naked right there. Okay, here we go. Look, I mean, blatantly moving down to her butt while she's shooting a machine gun. Hashtag Army, hashtag TikTok. China's not doing that. They're using her for their benefit. And, whatever. That's fine. I don't see a problem with that. I'm all for it. Let's get more of the Army girl out here. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, look, is the safety of our country at risk? Possibly. Could China be buddying up with Russia right now to start World War III and be able to use some of this data that they've been mining against the United States to destroy us in a global war? Maybe. But would I lose 35,000 followers and a sponsorship deal through Chuckle Rum? Definitely. So we cannot ban TikTok. We have to keep it going. Otherwise, how are people going to get great astrological content from me? We got to do it for the people. So that's it. That's all I got for this weekend edition. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks everybody for watching, and I'll see you later this week.